All right, so let's dive into some Faroes news from July 2024.
Sounds good.
Looking for a quick update on everything that happened locally.
Okay.
We've compiled all the need-to-know info on politics and news and sports and even the weather.
It's really quite something how much can happen in a month.
Yeah.
We'll cover the highlights to bring you fully up to speed.
So to start with politics, on July 3rd, Parliament went into its summer recess.
Right.
And just a few days later, the government revealed some new plans for housing construction, likely addressing that ongoing conversation about affordable housing.
Yeah, there was a bit of a stir later in the month when a public opinion survey came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, regarding the recent fisheries reform.
Oh, interesting.
People seem to be pretty divided on that one.
Okay, well, turning to the economy, Atlantic Airways announced strong financial performance
Okay.
for the second quarter on July 8th. And then on July 12th, there was a big Entrepreneur Day hosted by the Business Development Center.
Right. But then around July 15th, reports showed that prices continued to rise in the Faroe Islands,
Oh, no.
adding fuel to the fire of those inflation concerns.
Wow, and Bakkafrost presented its half-year financial report on July 26th?
Yep, always a big event since they play such a major role in the Faroes' autonomy.
For sure. Moving on to more social and cultural happenings.
Okay.
The G Festival kicked off in Siergutta on July 2nd.
Right.
And there was an art exhibition that opened on July 7th in the Old Sail House in Tórshavn. July 9th marked Faroe Islands Seamen's Day, and the summer exhibition at the Nordic House opened on July 14th. And of course, the Faroe Islands saw a wave of tourists coming through in July, as usual, for the summer season.
Yeah.
In the health sector, the National Hospital got a new chief physician on July 4th.
Okay.
And the government announced initiatives on July 17th to try and tackle those long waiting times in the healthcare system.
On the environmental front, there was a new research project focused on the marine environment that launched on July 11th. They're specifically looking at how climate change is impacting Faroe's waters. But just a couple of weeks later, on July 25th, there were protests by an environmental group against the planned oil drilling.
Interesting now. For some sports.
Okay.
On July 6th, HB won a top match in the Betri Deildan. The Island Games started on July 13th.
Right.
And Faroe's athletes brought home some medals from those games on July 20th.
Yeah.
And to wrap up the month in sports, the National Road Cycling Championships were held on July 27th.
And to round out the month, July saw the conclusion of Ólafsøka, which wrapped up on the 1st with coverage of the closing events.
As for the weather, while we don't have specific data for July 2024, it's typically a mild month in the Faroe Islands.
Yeah.
With average temperatures around 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
But of course, you can't talk about the Faroe Islands without mentioning the rain.
Oh, definitely.
It's just part of the experience. It really is quite something. The range of activities and events that happen in the Faroe Islands, even in just a single month.
It does seem like there's always something going on, from cultural festivals to economic developments to these crucial conversations around sustainability and the environment.
Speaking of sustainability, the fisheries reform debate is a fascinating one.
Yeah.
Clearly, there are some strong opinions on both sides, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the coming months.
It definitely seems like a complex issue with no easy answers. And then you have the contrasting viewpoints on oil drilling, those concerned about the potential environmental impact, and those who see it as an economic opportunity.
Exactly. It's a delicate balancing act, and one that many island nations are grappling with these days.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how these global issues are playing out in a place like the Faroe Islands, which often feels very connected to nature and tradition.
Yeah, it really speaks to the interconnectedness of our world today, doesn't it? Even in a place as seemingly remote as the Faroe Islands, global trends and challenges have a direct impact.
For sure. Thinking back to the economy, it's encouraging to see Atlantic Airways doing well. A strong national airline is definitely a positive sign.
Absolutely. And the Entrepreneur Day, hosted by the Business Development Center, suggests a real focus on fostering innovation and supporting new businesses.
Which is particularly important in a place like the Faroe Islands, where the economy is facing pressures from things like inflation, as those reports highlighted.
Right. And speaking of economic heavyweights, that Bakkafrost report is always a key indicator of the overall economic health of the islands. We'll have to see what the analysts make of it.
It's fascinating how one company can have such a significant impact.
Yeah, it really speaks to the unique structure of the Faroes economy and the importance of industries like aquaculture.
Now, shifting gears a bit to the more social and cultural aspects that G Festival always seems to draw a big crowd, it's amazing to see how this small village transforms for the event.
It's become quite a cultural phenomenon, attracting music lovers from all over the world. And that art exhibition in the old sailhouse, I always love seeing local talent showcased like that.
It's a reminder of the rich artistic heritage of the Faroe Islands. And of course, Seaman's Day is such an important tradition, honoring the island's deep connection to the sea.
It's a testament to the resilience and spirit of the Faroes people.
Speaking of resilience, it sounds like the healthcare system is facing some challenges with those long waiting times. Hopefully, those government initiatives will make a positive impact.
I think it's something that a lot of healthcare systems around the world are dealing with. It'll be interesting to see what approaches prove effective.
And then there's that new research project on the marine environment with climate change being such a pressing issue. I'm sure their findings will be closely watched.
Absolutely. Understanding the impact of climate change on the Faroes waters is crucial for the long-term sustainability of the islands.
Yeah, it really does feel like the Faroe Islands are at this crossroads navigating their traditional way of life while facing all these modern challenges.
It's a story that's playing out in many parts of the world, but the Faroes offer such a unique perspective,
Yeah.
because of their strong cultural identity and close connection to the natural environment.
And let's not forget the Sports HB's victory in the Betri Dealden must have been a big moment for their fans.
Oh, for sure. It's always exciting to see those local teams competing at such a high level, and the Island Games are a fantastic opportunity for Faroes athletes to shine on an international stage. Bringing home those medals is a real testament to their talent and dedication.
Yeah, it is amazing how much they achieve considering the relatively small population of the islands.
Right, and let's not forget the National Road Cycling Championships. Cycling has become increasingly popular in the Faroe Islands, and it's great to see that passion reflected in those competitions.
So that was your whirlwind tour of everything that happened in the Faroe Islands in July 2024, from politics and the economy to social events and sports. It was certainly an eventful month.
It's clear that the Faroe Islands are constantly evolving, facing challenges and embracing new opportunities. It'll be interesting to see what the rest of the year holds and how these events shape the future of this remarkable archipelago.
We've just scratched the surface here, and as always, there's so much more to explore. What stood out to you most from this update? What story sparked your curiosity? We encourage you to dig deeper into anything that piqued your interest.
And as you continue to learn about the Faroe Islands, consider this. How do you think they will continue to balance their cultural heritage with the demands of a globalized world? It's a question worth pondering as we watch this unique community navigate the future.